What's up, motivators? Welcome back. It's Kevin. This is Pure Bullfit, and today we're going to talk about my not favorite subject, and for a lot of you, not your favorite subject either. Cardio. Yep, that's right. While we may hate it, deep down in our core, to our very soul, it is crucially important to our longevity and our quality of life, and more of us need to be getting more of it in. But as a big guy, and my fellow big guys will understand, cardio is not always the easiest thing to get in. Running sucks. I hate running. So a lot of times we got to get creative on how we're going to get this cardio in. What I've been doing is a lot of boxing outside on the heavy bag when weather permits, working on the Stairmaster, and of course, rowing. If you've been following the short form content, you know that I am absolutely in love with my Merrick 950 wooden dual resistance, foldable, space-saving rower. It's perfect for our house. I freaking love this thing. So when they reached out and they said, hey, we'd like you to review something, I was positively inclined. When they said, we'd like you to review our new rower, obviously I was less inclined because I already have everything that I need. But then I thought about it for a second, and there actually is a need that could have been met by me taking the time to go ahead and evaluate this rower to see if it's better. Now, I already know their products tend to be pretty good based off of my previous experience with them, so I didn't think that this was going to be an absolute bust. And I know that the school really, really needs one because we have this old-ass water resistance, not very strong, not very good, frayed, beat-up piece of crap that the kids have been using for years. And if I've got an opportunity to replace that for them, I'm 100% going to do it. Once again, for full transparency, I do not have any sort of working relationship with Merrick. I am not sponsored by them. They do not pay for these videos. Occasionally they ask me to review a product. I say yes or no. I get the product. If I like it, I make a video about it. If I really like it, I donate it to the students here at the school, and that works for me. Now, the only thing that Merrick has asked me to do at all is to compare this to its primary competitor, the Concept 2 rower. Most of you know the Concept 2 rower. In fact, when you think of a rower, you're probably picturing it. It has a ubiquitous presence in the market. It's basically the Xerox copier of rowers. It's everywhere. It's the one that I used when I was in the Marine Corps, and all of my staff NCOs and company commanders were obsessed with CrossFit. It's the rowers that were present at every single box gym that I worked at when I first became a coach. Hell, it's even the rowers that we had available in the Blizzard Entertainment gym back when I worked in video games right after I got out of the Marine Corps. It was basically everywhere. So I've got a lot of experience. So how do these two units compare? Well, first and foremost, let's start off with the most important thing to most people out there. If you want a rower at a reasonable price, the Merrick R50 comes in somewhere between $500 and $700, depending on what deal you get, and depending on whether or not you decide to use that little code. Now, the Concept 2 rower is nearly twice the price at $990 or $1,005, depending on whether you're buying it from Rogue or R50 Fitness. Considerably more expensive. For what I've found is essentially the same thing. Now, both of these units use 10 levels of fan resistance with a selector switch that you can utilize. In addition to that, they've got a monitor that will show you everything from the time that you have been working, the distance that you've traveled, the wattage that you're outputting, the calories burned. Unlike other rowers, this does not use a cheap cord that might snap. It uses a chain to drive the fan. The seat is thick, cushy, and comfortable, and if I was inclined to spend more than 5 to 10 minutes on it, I would be perfectly comfortable doing so. The handle is nice and wide, even for a larger person like myself. As far as dimensions, they're both about 2 feet wide and a little bit over 90 inches in length, right around 8 feet. The Merrick R50 is 92 inches, and the Concept 2 comes in at 97. Now, the Concept 2 weighs about 57 pounds, just under 60, and this weighs a little bit over 70. I think that's actually a good thing for this unit because when you're larger like myself and you're rowing as hard as you can, these things tend to scoot across the floor a bit. But a workaround that I've utilized often is to go ahead and just put a weight right behind the back. One of the things that really sets this apart is this center attachment. Now, I just thought it was a convenient way to put it together because when we pulled this out of the box, the entire thing took maybe 25 minutes to set up. 8 screws and 1 snap lock later. Oh, you have got to be kidding me. That's by design? That is genius. But as you can see, this unit is infinitely more stowable than the Concept 2, which does not come apart. Sure, you could put it up on one end as long as you've got an 8 or a 9 foot ceiling in your storage space for the unit. But that's not a problem for the R50. It only takes up about 4 square feet on the floor, and it's about 5 feet tall when it's broken into 2 pieces. Now, one area that you might say the Concept 2 has an advantage is its weight capacity. The Concept 2 is rated for people of 500 pounds or less. to be able to utilize, and the R50 only for people who are 350 pounds or less. I think that that is such a small portion of the population that it doesn't make really a functional difference, but it is an advantage that the Concept 2 rower has. I think that that's probably because of the snap hinge that we have here in the middle that allows it to be stored so easily. You kind of sacrifice the amount of weight that you're going to be able to hold. But I weigh 270 pounds, and this thing has absolutely no issues holding me whatsoever. It doesn't creak, it doesn't buckle, it doesn't bounce. So I suspect that it could probably handle somebody of 400 pounds or more, but I don't recommend taking that chance. If a unit says this is the amount of weight that you can use, I think you should really stick to that. As far as slide length, this is just about 6 feet long, which is perfect for shorter people or even larger people like myself. I'm 6'3" with relatively long legs, but I think that this would honestly be good for somebody up to, say, 6'6", maybe even a little bit taller. Fortunately, I'll never have to find out because as you age, you get shorter. I used to be 6'4". Thanks, heavy squats. I even think that the resistance profile on this unit is a little bit better than the 950 rower that I have at home. This allows me to top just over 1,000 watts when I'm pulling as hard as I can, and that just doesn't seem to be something that the rower I have at home is capable of. But fortunately, I have this unit here to use whenever I want to. More importantly, our students do now, because not only was this adequate to the task of replacing the old rower that we had in here, it is far superior, and at a much better price point than even a Concept 2 rower could have offered us. Now, despite the fact that this is going to be used by hordes of teenagers who historically are not very responsible with other people's things, I am not worried about durability at all because I put this thing through its paces. In fact, I went as hard as I possibly could for 60 seconds, both to see how far I could get in 60 seconds and to see if I could make this snap hinge break, and I was impressed on both accounts. Not only did this stand up to the considerable abuse that I threw at it, I also almost set an indoor rowing record for my age group. Yeah, according to this site, the record for my age group is 407 meters, and the closest that I could find to a record being set is a video of a guy doing it, and he got 436 meters in 60 seconds. Which really blows my mind because back in the day when I worked at that Gold's Gym, we had a standing challenge that if you could get 500 meters in just 60 seconds, we'd pay you $100. I did not know at the time that nobody has ever done that. I see you. I see you. Now, I know that it says 409 on there, but by the end of the 60 seconds, by the time that timer ticked over onto 1 minute, I had only hit about 396 meters in 60 seconds, which is apparently considered elite for somebody my age, which, of course it is. So with all that said, the verdict is kind of obvious. If you're in the market for a rower and you need something that can do everything that a Concept 2 rower can do for half the price, this is kind of an obvious choice. With the Merrick R50, we have a proper blend of quality, capability, and durability, all the things that I need in a piece of equipment that I'm going to trust to my students. So I am very pleased with this. I'm extremely pleased that Merrick reached out and asked for me to do this review. I think it is an outstanding option. And if you happen to be in the market for a rower, go ahead and use this code and save even more money. All right, guys, that's it. That's the video for today. If you liked it, they got a button for that. If you didn't like it, they got a button for that too. Either way, let me know about it in the comment section below. Until I see you guys in the next video, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and find a little time to go fit yourself.